Joining me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Gada. Kosha, let's start with Donald Trump's meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, where they discussed everything from European involvement in the Russian-Ukraine war to Trump's fresh tariffs. Now, Trump and Macron have this bizarre handshake ritual. They've long had this where they try to outdo each other. It's kind of endearing, I guess, and it happened again today.
President Trump, do you have a message for Pope Francis, sir, who's still in the hospital? Do you have a message for Pope Francis?
And they are both rather grabby with each other.
That is the most beautiful language. I have no idea what he's saying, but that is the most...
Now, there were a number of light-hearted moments throughout their meeting, including this one, where Donald Trump called out Emmanuel Macron for doing something a little underhanded, but he did it in such a jovial, friendly manner. This is great. Watch this.
I just want to tell you a little story. So we were at the Eiffel Tower having dinner with your wonderful wife and with my wonderful wife, and we came out and he started speaking the French deal. And we didn't have an interpreter, and he was going on and on and on, and I was just nodding, yes, yes, yes. And he really sold me out, because I got back the next day and I read the papers. I said, that's not what we said. He's a smart customer, I will tell you that. That wasn't exactly what we agreed to.
Oh, it's an interesting relationship, Kosha, but I think that story, that's just classic Donald Trump, because he called him out. He said that he sold him out. He went and repeated stuff that wasn't strictly true, but done in such a friendly manner.
Such a friendly manner, gives him credit, calling him a tough customer. And, you know, we've talked about this before. The Trump sense of humor has long been underrated. His charm also, a lot of people, he grates them the wrong way, but a lot of people actually find him charming. And you can see that President Macron clearly does. Like, I kind of got the sense, like, yes, a lot of it was about power playing, this very famous handshake routine that they've had going on now for 12 years, and who's the alpha dog and all of that. But you could also kind of see through it that they actually seem to genuinely like each other. There is sort of a friendly jousting aspect to their relationship, and you know that speaks to that charm and humor.
Because they could not be more different in so many ways politically, and this is a very charged time when you look at Americans' relationship with Europe. J.D. Vance gave that incredible speech where he made it clear, and that speech was for the Trump administration, that we do not back your values, these open borders, hard green left policies. This is not suppression of free speech. That was a big theme of his speech as well. So where is that relationship, and where is the whole Ukraine-Russia conflict in that? Because America, again, has made it clear that they want an end to this conflict and they're not going to keep funding it long term.
I think we're going to see some changes rapidly, just given the pace of the Trump administration 2.0 over here. But the whole Ukraine thing is one piece in the broader chessboard that Trump is trying to reset. So some of it, yes, in its own right, he does want the war to end. He is very much in favor of peace and not having so many casualties and that carnage continuing. But also, it is sort of a linchpin right now in recalibrating the relationship with Europe, where they've got to step up and pay closer to 5% of their GDP on defense. I wouldn't be surprised if we see further moves where Trump starts to shut down military bases in Germany, for example. It's now 80 years post-World War II. Let's recalibrate. And simultaneously, he's also trying to open up relationships and normalize relationship with Russia. Maybe an uneasy ally, but they are a significant player in many ways. And that Macron sort of was trying to push back on that or give the counter argument, but we see that the Trump team is moving ahead with normalizing that.
Well, so much of what he's been pushing for is starting to eventuate. As soon as he had those attacks against Zelensky, we saw the European nations pledging to back Ukraine, to spend more, to do all the things that the Trump administration has been pushing them to do. So sometimes the way he gets there is a little bit unconventional, but he does eventually get there. Now, it's looking like Donald Trump will have his entire cabinet confirmed in record time, beating out previous presidents. So far, Trump has had 18 of his 22 cabinet nominees confirmed. You compare that with President Biden, who had 18 cabinet nominees confirmed 57 days into his term. So we are seeing a really quick pace here. It's not just the number that is getting confirmed so quickly, it's the quality of these candidates. They are loyal to the Trump team. It's very different from the first administration.
Absolutely. He's much more organized. We can see that transition team was funded and in place 6 months before the election in the eventuality that the state would come. They are much more vetted and aligned with his populist vision, which is breaking away from the traditional Republican Party and the candidates that he was putting in place last time. The speed is very interesting because a lot of people from his base were nervous that John Thune, who's a little bit more establishment type, would he slow walk it? That hasn't happened. So it's very clear that Trump is more powerful now, and even the establishment wing, which has dwindled in the Republican Party, but it is still there, seems to be following his lead much more so now than last time. And the last thing I would point is that all of them are very young, which is quite refreshing.